Hello, I'm Ryan White with the GBA Multimedia Delivery Committee. Today I have Vic Donald from Terracon. Vic, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your presentation today.
Yeah, happy to, Ryan. I'm a geotechnical engineer, been one for 47 years. I work for Terracon, was a service line director for the geotechnical service line, now I'm a senior consultant. I had the opportunity to give a review of the crystal ball workshop that we held last June of 26, and go over some of the summary findings that we had in that.
Awesome. So this might be hard to do because there was so much information, but if you had to pick 1 to 2 things that you wanted someone to take away from that, what are those 2 things?
Yeah, I'll go with 2. I'll
Okay.
go with 2. So the one thing is Crystal Ball Workshop's awesome. It really does a good job of showing the geoprofession where we see things headed. So that's always helpful. This particular one, addressing automation and AI and how it blends so well with the workforce shortages that we have, created an opportunity for us to really flesh out how will we use AI to thrive, not just survive. So yeah, those were 2 really important items.
Okay, and we didn't talk specifics, but you gave some great examples of some of the things we talked about in the Crystal Ball workshop. But if there was one thing people could do, physically do, with what I guess you shared about what we learned at the Crystal Ball workshop, what would that be?
I think find the curiosity in your firm. It's probably going to be from the less experienced people that you would normally say they haven't been trained well enough to have this level of responsibility, and accept the fact that they may know a whole lot more about some of these topics than the more senior people, and give them the opportunity to allow that curiosity to help your firm.
Okay, that's great. Something struck me about that, and I was going to say curiosity. You mentioned curiosity. Giving people a little bit of leeway to try these new things. I know that there's a lot of security concerns about AI and having closed systems with your data. I'm curious, since you've kind of been at the forefront of this with the Crystal Ball workshop, what are some of the primary issues you've heard, I guess, with people that are fearful or slow to adopt using AI?
I think the primary thing is a fear that it will rob our profession of judgment, that we're going to be getting scripted things done for us in the same way that I don't think my kids could go from their house to their work without their GIS system showing them where to go. I mean, GPS system showing them where to go. We're going to lose the ability to reason. I hear a lot of people talking about that concern in the future. Okay. The other thing is the human mind will gravitate to the easiest way to get something done. Yep. And as a result, we might be putting a lot of documents out there that didn't get adequately checked, because we'll develop a sense of security that we shouldn't generate.
I loved your exoskeleton example. That's something I've heard, not that specific example, but using AI as a tool to support the humans in that process. Specifically, how do you see that working maybe in the geoprofessions?
I'm already seeing it that way, and I bet you are too, Ryan, and that is when we use AI, we become more creative, not less creative. We get the right prompts to help us think beyond, and then we're learning better how to prompt AI. So I think we're going to learn collectively in the geoprofession how to develop systems that make our work more productive and make our creativity higher versus judgment reducing. I think the opportunity's there, but we're going to have to make sure that we look for that and deliberately go after that.
With all the time that you've spent thinking about this, are there questions that you wish people were asking that they're not? I mean, we had a lot of questions in there, but are there things that you wish people were asking that they maybe aren't?
Questions that they're not asking. Can AI replace the geoprofessional if we're not careful? Can large data companies with the right regulatory changes remove our profession from its viable place that it's in today?
Wow, I'm going to need a minute to marinate on those. Those are heavy questions. So this year's conference is about vibrancy, impact, professionalism. When we're talking about this topic specifically, which one of those pillars do you think most directly aligns with how we're using AI or how we could use AI?
Well, I think for the reasons I said earlier about the creativity, it's vibrancy. If we maintain a diligent way to explore more options for our clients using AI, we can be a much more vibrant profession. You can be a more vibrant engineer, so can I. So I think it's vibrancy.
Okay. And you mentioned, I guess we talked about this already too, is using it as a tool to supplement our work to make us better. That saves us time. And we talked specifically at the Crystal Ball about if we're billing by the hour, we're not charging for the value. And I know you've thought about this, but aside from lump sum and charging the same price and doing it for less, are there other strategies that you've thought about how do we still get the value in our fee for doing this work more efficiently?
Well, that's a tough one. And I think it ties into what we just talked about. We can be a more vibrant profession, more of a consultant and less of a data provider and a suggestion maker. We can get deeper. We talked earlier in the conference today about moving up the food chain with what we can offer. Maybe we're a better selector of contractors with our client instead of just handing our reports to them and saying, do with it what you've done with it for the past 50 years. Maybe we can develop ways that we're helping them implement a better way to build their whatever they're going to be building, a better way to clean up their groundwater, et cetera, because we're using these tools to be more vibrant for them. Because at the end of the day, that's what we look at every day while they're not. So let's use our tools to make ourselves smarter before we go back to the AI.
Awesome. Great.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate hearing all that. Great presentation. Thanks for your time today.
It was a pleasure to do it.